Hello, my name is Zoe and today I'm going to show you how to build a bug mansion. Now, there are lots and lots of insects in your garden, and although they might seem like pests, many of them are beneficial. Insects are really important for lots of different reasons, and they help us with things like pollinating plants, controlling pests, recycling nutrients in the soil, and even provide food for things like birds, mammals like hedgehogs, and bats that sort of fly around at night. Unfortunately, insects are a bit in trouble. Humans take up a lot of space, and unfortunately that means there are less places for homes for insects. And the chemicals we use mean that they can't perform the important roles that they fill for us. But we can help. There are lots of homes that we can create for insects in our garden. They can live in the trees, in the ground, under rocks and under logs. You may have already heard of something called a bee hotel. Now this caters for a specific kind of bee called a solitary bee. It's not like other bees you might have heard of, like honeybees and bumblebees. They don't live in colonies, they live on their own, as the name suggests. Now when they go into these tiny holes, they actually lay their eggs and fill up the hole with pollen, so when their young emerge the next year, they've got plenty to eat. We might create bee hotels by drilling holes in wood in different sizes, because they're all different shapes and sizes, or adding lots of different bamboo sticks together. But some bumblebees don't live in bee hotels, they live in the ground, and lots of bumblebees actually use things like old nest holes to make their nests. Now these need different types of habitats called insect refuges. These can be as simple as a pile of logs and rocks and leaves together to just leave them undisturbed so they can build their nest in a safe haven. Now a bug mansion is great because it combines these two things. It combines the benefits of having small holes for solitary bees, and it creates sort of homes for different insects with rotting wood, rocks and other objects. It can also help other animals like frogs and lizards by creating sort of holes where they can scuttle under.
How to build your mansion. The basic framework is made of wooden pallets. Try to use recycled or reclaimed materials where you can. The mansion does not need to be more than 5 pallets high. If you place the bottom pallet upside down, this should create larger openings at the ends, which can be useful for a hedgehog house.
The other things you might need are bricks, pieces of dead wood, bits of bamboo, slate, and other bits like pine cones and rocks, just to fill up the gaps and create homes for different wildlife.
Now, once you've built your bug mansion with bricks and pallets, it's time to fill the gaps in with the different materials you have. Dead wood is an increasingly rare habitat and is essential for larvae of wood-boring beetles. It can also support many fungi which help break down the woody material. Crevices under the bark can hold centipedes and woodlice.
I've also improvised a bit with bits of plastic bottles by stuffing them in with sticks and sort of bamboo sticks. Now dry sticks are really good for hibernating ladybirds, so you may find a few in there. If you have any slate or piece of tile, these can be really good for frogs, which we call amphibians. This is because they don't like the frost in the winter, so if you put the slate underneath your pallet, then this might create a nice cold, damp, frost-free environment for the frogs over the winter. I've also stuffed some plastic bottle with some corrugated cardboard, which I've rolled up. This can be a really good habitat for something called a lacewing, which have really delicate wings, and so they can crawl inside. The important thing with this is it's in a waterproof container, so the cardboard doesn't get really wet, trapping the insects inside. You can also include things like straw and dry leaves, which are really good for animals burrowing in.
Some invertebrates like cool, damp conditions, while others prefer the sun. To cater for as many of them as possible, put the mansion somewhere where it will catch lots of sun, but the rest will be in the shade under a tree or near a hedge. Choose a level, even surface to build it on. The mansion may end up being very heavy, so it will need a firm base. If you put some nectar-producing plants and nectar-rich flowers on top and in your bug mansion, this can provide food for butterflies and bees living inside. Remember, fill in the gaps, as this can protect the insects inside from animals that may try to eat them. Don't use paper or chemically treated wood. Add a solid sturdy back and roof to protect the bug mansion from bad weather. Inspect the bug mansion at the end of the summer to check for mould to prevent diseases from spreading. There are other things you can do for insects in your garden. Provide water, such as a bee watering station or bird bath. Provide flowers, such as wildflowers, rosemary and sea holly, giving them a source of food. Don't use chemicals, as these can hurt or kill the insects, and if you nurture a healthy garden, you won't need them. Mow less. Insects use wildflowers for food and long grass for protection, so if you mow less in the summer and the spring, this can really help. And finally, take action for insects. Make a pledge for insects and for nature, and help insects into recovery.